Now, if I can bring in Ben and Keegan, the president said that the measures they have put in place so far are effective, but the numbers keep increasing after each and every update by CS or CS Matsumangangi. As in, why is the curve not flattening? Keegan.
I think the government should realize that the measures they put, like curfew, countrywide, cessation in Nairobi and coastal countries, as well as keeping distance, are not enough. Like even wearing a mask is not enough. So I think now the government should make sure that they put more and more capping methods that now can lead to reduce of number, because we try. Actually, when you use one method and realize that this method is not working, it's good also to use another one and more follow-up issue, rather than waiting and just seeing the numbers just increasing, in fact. So I believe that there should be some other methods, in fact, quick methods that can be used to
Glenda,
replace
we
the whole.
started, Glenda, okay, thank you very much. Keegan. Glenda, we started with one case, I remember. We then went ahead to 3, 4. Right now we are at 246. Why is the curve not flattening?
I think the curve is not okay. The government has taken the correct precautions, yes. But what is the best solution? I think the government should just do a lockdown for 2 weeks, identify each and every person who has been into contact with an infected person, take them into isolation. After those 2 weeks, we see how the curve will be going. If it's still increasing, we find another solution. But I think we deserve a lockdown for like 2 weeks, where everybody just stays in the house to prevent the disease from infecting people.
But Glenda, looking at our economy or our society as Kenya, we feed from hand to mouth. As in, can a lockdown work for us? Glenda, if you can hear me.
You're gonna take care of our neighbors, like I'll take care of my neighbor. Let us help each other. Let us decide to work as a team. Don't let your neighbor suffer if you have something. Let's not be ignorant. Let's share. If we decide on sharing and helping each other, come up in a plot. If you stay in a plot, you guys decide tutasaidiana hivi. You guys stay in a flat. You decide we'll do this for these people who are here. It will really help. Let's not be ignorant.
Glenda, let me, sorry for interruption. I want to ask you, if you suggest that we go for a lockdown as a country, I mean, looking at our society, we feed from hand to mouth, as in, and that work for us?
No, it's a bit tricky, but we just have to stop being ignorant and look for a way we can help each other to curb this. If we go for a total lockdown in the country, we can try help each other. If you're a neighbor and you have this, help your neighbor. Don't be selfish. If we work in a way where we can help each other, even those who are struggling from hand to mouth, we can give out donations. It will be a really great thing. I think that can work if we, as a country, if we who are able to help others, help them. If we decide to help and share, we can work with a total lockdown.
Okay, Alan, the government is saying so far they have done their best, and so far the measures they have put in place are very much effective. But the curve is not flattening. Is it a matter that Kenyans are ignorant, they're going to party, they're not keeping social distance, they're not washing their hands, or why is it that the curve is not flattening? Alan Polycom.
Abel, if you've noticed, the incubation period of this virus is 14 days. That's 2 weeks, Abel, 2 weeks. That's a long time. And for Bernard to say that whatever the government is doing is not enough and is not working, they should stop that. I think you should factor in the fact that it's 14 days and everything starts reflecting after 14 days. When I put out a measure now, I give it 14 days for what has been happening to reflect, then another 14 days for what I'm implementing to work. So it's not about the government not doing enough. It's us implementing what is there. I mean, if we only have curfew and still people are going up and down in the country, up and down the counties, sorry. What about if we have a lockdown? I mean, if we can't follow simple rules, how are we gonna follow tougher measures? I believe Kenya is just an ignorant demographic, considering that as late as yesterday, people were being arrested for going out in crowds and partying. I mean, if we behave that way, we might end up being the Italy of Africa. Because if you've checked a month into Spain's cases, they had the same situation. They were around the same figures, but now where are they? They're like beyond. They're having as many as 800 cases a day, and I believe if we as a people just follow on and work with the government, this might be fruitful. But for Glenda to call out a lockdown is a very big move, and I think as much as she has a very viable suggestions, don't forget that Kenyans also are a quite selfish society, and we wouldn't freely do that. And as you've mentioned, we live hand to mouth, and that really is impacting on the government deciding on the lockdown. Because if we wake up one day and decide on a lockdown, then over 50% of the population is going to go haywire because of the situation they're living in hand to mouth. And that's why the government, I think, introduced the weekly stipend for families that can barely raise something for themselves to at least contain the numbers. So as I was saying, the curve is not flattening now because you're still living in the shadows of our ignorance in the beginning, where we had the 14 days for each of the first cases. For like the first 2-3 weeks, we are still living in the ignorance of those weeks, and it will take us about 14 days to clear that. And I believe we can't really decide on when the curve should go down. We can only hope that it goes down. It's not numbers that we just wake up one day and decide we want this curve to go down. It all depends on the reaction and immune of the people to decide if they are getting well or something. So we can't just decide that we are hopeful that the curve goes down, but we can't just wake up and decide now it's time for the curve to go down unless we even follow up on the measures put up by the government.
Okay, allow me to revisit one more question. I never got the inputs from Benny Kirira. Now, contributions. Come again.
Sorry, let me interrupt. Let me interrupt for just a few minutes here, just to put my point clearly concerning what my friend Alan has said. Actually, it's not that Kenyans are not really ignorant, or rather that the government hasn't done. Actually, it has given some directions and even directives and even some guidelines. But I think it should have even gone further and try to assist, because you realize that even in Kenya here, more than 3/4 of the population live actually in their livelihoods. It goes on daily basis that you have to go to work today so that you can get your meal. And just even telling that Kenyans, please stay at home, don't go out, without even government trying to bring some, even the basic. I think that can work. That it should also have some directions and give some assistance. Like, for example, now they say wear a mask. You find that somebody, Mama Mboga there, can only have like a day, maybe earn up to about 200 shillings. So this mama here will think of buying food like hunger and other basic needs rather than going to buy a mask which costs up to even 100 shillings or even 50 shillings. So I think that the government can also chip in and try to help. Like we have seen, we have the Kitui whereby they provide some thousands of masks that you should actually give to the citizens for free, distributing them. So
okay, Keegan, I got your point.
Alan, I want to Abel, I want to say something.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I want to suggest. Let me give you an example of where I stay. I stay in Kino.
Yes.
This is Kiambu County, right?
Yeah.
So where I stay, we have a place where they've placed donations, where people from this Kino area are donating food. You can take any food stuff to that post, and it will be given to the vulnerable people. So I think if this people can try implement these things in their area, we can actually make a big move as a country. Because I've seen a lot of people donating a lot of food, which is really nice. So if we try do this in each area, it can be a very, very good move.
Okay, I get your point, Jen. And now let me bring in Bridget. Can you hear me? Bridget, can you hear me? Okay, it seems she still have some technical issues. I'll come back to you, Kirira Benedict, on our previous question. So far, contributions to help in fighting coronavirus now stands at 1 billion. And the government stated that it has already identified the needy households. Is this money going to reach each and every vulnerable person in the city? Kirira?
Abel, I would like to go back to what I had said earlier. I think the government telling us that they have identified the needy household. That is one thing. But actually, for us to see that they have identified the needy household is a different thing. Because we
Yeah.
still have people out there who, yesterday, I was watching news and I saw a woman from Ruaka area in Kiambu County. She was saying because she doesn't have a television or a radio to listen to, she doesn't know about any money that has been distributed to the needy household. So I think the government should make an effort to actually get in touch with such households to be able to know what exactly they should be doing. Because making calls from an office and asking people from various counties to identify the needy households is not something that is going to work effectively. Also, I would like to mention that I saw something on Twitter and somebody was asking when we are having political rallies, we have all sorts of millionaires and billionaires chipping in,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
somebody was
yeah.
asking where are these billionaires right now?
Right
All right,
now.
these people, there's somebody out there who can be able to import millions of face masks, but right now they're nowhere to be seen, right? There are so many people out there who can be able to afford uh, thousands of liters of hand sanitizers, but these people, I think they're just waiting for the 2022 politics so that they can get out there and promote the various politicians. So what I'm trying to say, Abel, is the same vigor that these people put into political rallies and political campaigns, they should put the same vigor in this COVID-19 issue.
Kenyans are asking, when it comes to election period, you can see issues spread all over, whether it's NASA or
Yeah.
Jubilee, but where our politicians, they're not contributing even, let's say, 1 kg of flour just to give to those who are needy. Where are they in the fight to combat COVID-19, Alan?
Abel, it's a big call you're making out there. You can't be certain that these people are not giving something. And again, generosity is not something you force out of people. It's something that you let out to be at goodwill. And I believe so far to have raised 1 billion within the last a week and a few days, I think, that's a big move. And I think the fact that they don't attribute the number of amount they've gotten from every individual, it leaves it anonymous and you can't really identify if they have or they have not contributed. I believe to
Yeah.
have raised 1 billion, there must be someone chipping in. If not you, it's me. If not, it's not me, then it's that billionaire out there. And generosity, as I've said, is something you don't force out of people. It's something that someone does out of goodwill. And all we can just do is encourage these people to be good enough and share the little they have or the much they have to help out. And I want to shed my light into this matter. I believe Kenya doesn't have a developed framework or technology to distribute its funds and such things to these people. But I believe it will reach most of the people, if not all. Definitely not all, but most of them, because the previous really gave data for and that will be really helpful in distributing this, because through the census they can identify the number of families that live on $1 or below a day, and those who really need this money. And as much as it might not reach everyone, I believe it will reach most of the people. And as Glenda was saying about donations, it will be a very viable measure. But remember, our politicians started misusing that opportunity of donations, as you'll see politicians bringing out donations but branded with their names, and that's a political move, and hence the government shut down that system. Now that if you want to donate or give out something, it has to go through the COVID-19 committee. But as again you'll notice in mashinani, not all these things can go to the government and come back to us. So again, if we can be able to help our vulnerable neighbors, at least that the nyumba kumi structure would have helped before, and also the nyumba kumi initiative can really go much in helping this move to work out, because through that you can identify your vulnerable and needy neighbors, and I believe most of the people will get this help. And I also want to commend the government, because not most government, there are just a few governments in the world that are really giving something to their population to sustain them throughout this condition. Well,
Again, I mean, I chose you to represent me in parliament. I chose you to represent me in Senate. I chose you as my governor. But right now, I'm crying to you as a Kenyan to help me out in these trying times. I mean, Kenyans are crying. Where are our politicians in the fight to combat
Also, Abel.
COVID-19? Keeping in mind that during elections, t-shirts are everywhere.
Money is everywhere.
Yes, money is everywhere, and these people they go to churches and you know they show off their 300,000 donations in churches almost every Sunday. So you can't tell me that they are now afraid to put in the limelight what they can you know they can be able to distribute to the vulnerable people. Yeah.
You can not touch on that.
Habel, you know
Yes.
that yeah, you can just you can just someone donate, actually assist someone is something that it's up to that person, that you can't force someone to help, especially during these difficult moments. But actually my suggestion was that we have been making these companies, for example, we have a lot of companies that take the monopoly of services and even production of some basic necessities. For example, the Kenya Power. Though on the other hand, we have seen Safaricom trying so much, cutting a lot, trying to even sensitize the people through the platform, that's using their service provider. But other companies now that we have been making them survive for those all years, because we normally subscribe to their products, but they are here so quiet. So I think also it's time for them to stand for us. We have stand for them for a long time. It's time for them to stand for us.
Okay,
And also,
get your point.
Let me add on something to that. Leaders are elected, and when elected, they are in service. So they're in service to us. So leaders should actually be sacrificing for us, right? So I think leaders should find a way that they can sort this out. I'm so proud of some leaders that I'm seeing, Akina Joho, who are doing a lot of great things. Yeah. So they should actually try and sacrifice. We don't need money. No, we just need to see you there, encouraging us, telling us everything will be okay as a leader. We need to see you there, thinking about your people. How are the people of your county surviving? Some governors are not even out here. I haven't seen them in a while. Yet before Corona, we used to see Tanga, we used to see all those people on TV every day, every time. Where are these leaders? Where